Yeah. Can you dig it? Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing this fine Friday evening out in the world, partying down like you're going out of style, having a good time? I hope you are anyway. I hope you're getting drunk and chasing all the ladies or guys or whatever it is you're into, and I hope you're just enjoying yourselves. You may not get another chance very soon. It's getting bad out there, folks. It's getting bad. We had a presidential address last night where our president declared war on half of us. Basically said we were absolutely a threat to democracy. He said democracy over and over again, never once alluding to the fact that we are not actually a democracy, that we are in fact a constitutional republic. Constitutional republic in which we have been such ever since the Constitution was signed by our forefathers. We are not, in fact, a democracy. Democracies are mob rule, and we don't function that way. Why they use that word so flippantly and so fluently, and they bloviate on it and its meaning in Hollywood. Hollywood. There's a Freudian slip in Washington. The two have become indistinguishable in my mind. That's why I can no longer tell the difference between the two. However, why they use that word so much to describe what they're doing is beyond me, because what they're doing is, in fact, a House and a Senate and a presidency. That's three branches of government. Then you have the Supreme Court, and then you have the letter or alphabet agencies, and that's how a government runs. It has built-in checks and balances. That is a constitutional republic. We, the people, vote in the leaders to represent us. They work for us. We don't work for them. Since Biden has been president, he has threatened America with F-15 attack planes or jets. He has threatened to nuke America. Well, not in so many words. He said he had the nuclear weapons. In my mind, that's threatening me, because we don't have nuclear weapons. So, he obviously hasn't been paying attention, though, because they keep saying on TV over and over and over again that in, January 6th, that a group of old, mostly white, there were a lot of races there, by the way. They weren't all white, but they were mostly white. Old white middle Americans almost toppled the government without being armed. They just about insurrected America, according to the news and according to the White House. It was almost over with on January 6th. It's why they're so afraid of it. It's why they have done so much to combat that day, and why they have put so many people in jail over that day, and to this day have not been let out, have no representation and such. If that's the case, then it doesn't really matter who's got the F-15s or the nuclear bombs. I don't think that's the case, though. I don't think that's an accurate assessment of what happened. From my perspective, this is my opinion. Every bit of this is my opinion. Don't take me for knowing anything. I'm just an old redneck. But from where I could see, it looked a lot like a Trump rally. And then the rally ended and everybody went that way. And while they were going that way, some stuff was stirred up over there that they walked into. Now, who did it? I don't know. Was it an insurrection? Most certainly, probably not. I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't give an actual assessment of what happened. All I can tell you is what I saw on TV, and what I saw on TV didn't look like a toppling of a government. It looked like a bunch of people that walked into a public building, which is supposed to be the building of the people, and then were immediately shut down and arrested for trespassing in a public building that's taxpayer funded by the people of we. What does that mean? That means that there's some fuckery afoot. That's what it means. Quite literally. I don't know why it's going that way. I don't know why they raided Mar-a-Lago. I don't know why Biden got on national television last night and called 74 million people semi-fascist terrorists who were a threat to the very soul of the country. That's people that are voting against you. That's the only thing that they have in the way of being your enemy, is that they're voting you out of office. And they probably will, because your approval rating as of last night was below 38%. That's low. Trump's wasn't even that low. That ought to tell you something. And by the way, it's been 2 years since Trump left office. Why is he on everybody's mind? Why haven't you just put it behind you and moved on doing the thing you do? Why is every word out of your mouth about Trump or about something concerning Trump? Is he that terrifying to you? Is he that scary to you? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to watch the presidential address tonight when some folks show up and I can talk to somebody. And we're going to see what he has to say. And then we're going to look up some words to see what the actual meaning of those words are, because if nothing else, I want to speak the truth. If it comes out of my mouth, I want it to be the truth. I want you to be able to depend on it, or at the very least know that I believe what I'm saying, whether you believe it or not. I'm not going to intentionally mislead anyone. I'll fact check myself, thank you very much. Now, there is a big question mark to all of this, because who knows what's really going on? Who knows who's pulling the strings? Who knows why the government is doing the things that they are doing, but they're doing them. And it's scary. It's very scary, because you don't really know what they got going on over there in Biden land. It's kind of terrifying. I hope that you're having a good night. I hope that this isn't too frightening for anyone. I hope that you can see it for what it is and move on with your life. But the words have been said, and we didn't say them, folks. I'm just saying, for all the talk about how we're fascists and how Trump's a dictator and how the MAGA force, which is now being coined the term MAGA force, like we're an army or a militia. We're not. We're just a bunch of old voters that don't like the way the country's going. That's it. And it's, by the way, half of the country. It's probably a little more than half of the country. And let me tell you, a little more than half of the country is quite upset with the way it's running. And we intend to do something about it. What are we going to do about it? We're going to vote. The only person talking about violence is the White House. The only person threatening anybody is the White House. You don't hear that coming from anybody else, anywhere. You hear them say it's coming from everywhere. White supremacists and whatever buzzwords they use of the day. You hear them say it, but you don't ever hear us say it. And that's because we're not thinking that. I don't want to hurt anybody, white or black or Mexican or any other color. I want everybody to be happy and be successful and live a fruitful life in the pursuit of happiness and liberty and safety. All colors. I want them to be doing it legally, but I want them to be happy. I want them to be successful and make something out of themselves and contribute to this great country we live in, because that's what you're supposed to do, of all colors. You're supposed to get up in the morning and pull yourself up by the bootstraps and get out there in the world and make a difference. That's what my parents taught me. That's what I try to teach my children. And I'm sure that's what their parents taught them, for the most part. Any family that had parents, I'm saying. But you look at the Democratic-run cities, the big spots in America that are so long under the control of the Democrats, and that's where you find all of the violence and the crime and the hatefulness and the rhetoric and the backbiting and the breaking and entering and the rioting and the burning of buildings and the threatening to kill people and the actually killing people. That's where you find it. You don't find it in Greenville, North Carolina. You don't find it in Lakeland, Florida. Well, you probably do. That's probably pretty rough. But you don't find it in Polk County, Florida. You don't find it in BFE. You don't find it in Kansas. You find it in Chicago. You find it in Los Angeles, New York, Miami. Not so much Miami. Here's an interesting thing about Miami. Miami was a long time a Democrat-run city. And it had one of the highest crime rates or murder rates in the country for a long time. And then a Republican took it over, along with DeSantis when he took over. And since that Republican has been in office, the murder rate in Miami has dropped like 40%. It's down to like single digits. It's a much safer city. It's a much cleaner city. It's a much more prosperous city. Imagine that. Look at Texas. Texas is doing good in most places. Some places are a little weird, but around the edges, it's just doing quite nice. Florida is killing it, banging. They're just leaps and bounds. Everything. I'm thinking about moving back to Florida. I'm not going to, but I'm thinking about it. And lots of people have already moved to Florida. And all of these Democrats vacation in Florida because they know they'll be safe. Think about it. What it all boils down to, folks, you want to be safe in your own skin. You want to be happy. You want to be safe. You want to be secure. And you want to drive on nice roads and not worry about bridges falling out from under you. And you want to send your children to a school that you know will educate them in the ways of the world, but not indoctrinate them in the ways of ideology. You want to know that your children are safe when they're not in your hands, and that they will come home to you in the same condition you sent them in. That's what you want to know. That's what you need to vote for come November 2024. That's what you need to vote for in 2022 when the smaller votes. You need to get some people in the lower offices to prepare for the bigger offices in 2024. And I'm telling you, you need to vote Republican because they're the only people that's got any sense. The libertarians aren't doing too bad. There's a few things that they're a little squirrely on, but they're a lot better than the Democrats. The Democrats have lost their minds. They are no longer sane people. They are no longer willing to pretend to be negotiable. They are just trying to force their way into power in any way they can. Every time I see it on the TV, it's just another notch in the belt. They just keep getting further and further down the list. And I'm probably going to get this video removed or whatever because I'm telling the truth. But it's the truth, and you can fact check it. It's real. I'm not making any of this up. And the only reason I'm even talking about it, a non-political channel, is because I'm scared because my president went out and said some pretty dangerous rhetoric last night. And it kind of has me concerned about the safety of my family. In what world, in what dimension, has there ever been a president call half the country, the people who voted against him, terrorists? That's not what presidents are supposed to do, folks. Not to mention the fact that was nothing more than a campaign speech that he did, which I don't think you're supposed to do on company dime. I think you're supposed to talk about America and talk about your accomplishments, but I don't think you're supposed to be campaigning, and that's largely what he was doing last night, trying to gin up support for his re-election, which ain't ever going to happen. And I posted, I forget which outlet I saw the video from, but I watched it, and I posted a comment at the end, and I said, today was a good day, all things considered, because today I saw them scared. And that's what I saw when I looked at Joe Biden that day. I saw fear in his eyes. He is terrified. Trump is the big bad boogeyman, and he's coming to get him, and he just knows it. He's terrified of that man. And why? Because Trump ain't playing the game. That's why. All these establishment old boys, this old boys club that's in Washington right now that don't want the government to change at all because they're making bank on it. They've set it up in a way that they can function and make a lot of money to the dismay of everyone else. They don't want that to change. So they want the people in office to play the game. They educate them as soon as they get in office. They take them aside and they tell them this is how it's going to be. You might think you were the president, but we got it established. You're just here for 4 years, so play by the rules. And when they did that to Trump, he said, no, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And you can kiss my butt where it looks like a fig. And that, my friends, is the reason we all voted for him. Do we like him? No, we don't like him. Nobody likes Trump. Trump doesn't like Trump. Nobody cares if they like him. They didn't vote for him to be their buddy. I didn't vote for him so I could enjoy looking at him. I voted for him because I knew he would shake things up and change things. And that would ultimately lead to something better, because you cannot grow without change. And you cannot change without breaking some eggs. Can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. So, that's how I feel about it. What say you, people of the world? Is there anybody here with me yet? Nope, I'm all by myself. How about that on a Friday night? All alone in the world. That's all right. Some of you will watch this later. I know you will. Oh, somebody voted on my little poll. Thank you, whoever that was. I'm going to send out a text and see if I can get somebody here. Let's see. I'm live. Hey, News Now, Carolina. What's happening, brother? You got one vote for president. Whoa, yeah. I wanted to add another there, and I wanted to add what the hell is a Jake Johnson, but it would only let me add 4. And it was too late to go back. How are you doing this fine evening, sir? I'm going to make us strong again. I'm going to make us fat again. I'm going to make us wrinkled again. I'm going to make us horny again. And I am going to make us... This message is paid for by J Squared Entertainment. Thank you very much. So, as soon as a couple more people get here, I'm going to play the presidential speech last night. And we're going to look up some words and see if we can find some actual definitions of what the man is actually saying. Because what he said last night was terrifying. He actually called 74 million people terrorists and a threat to the very soul of the country, he said. That doesn't bode well. He also quoted quite a few presidents, not one of which would have stood up for what he was saying that night. But they did nonetheless. He quoted them as if they were on his side. It's quite an interesting world we're living in at the moment, my friend. It's quite interesting. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I'm glad things are going your way and you're happy and fat and sassy. And I'm doing pretty good myself, actually. I'm getting ready to put out a new version of the podcast Sunday, starting Sunday. I may not get it finished Sunday, but we're starting the process Sunday of a brand new show. A brand new Sunday show, brand new Bible study. This time it's going to be tighter and shorter and more to the point, and we're going to delve even deeper. And I'm going to let people know some things they probably never heard before. Some real stuff. And the most important part of it is it's going out all over the world. I'm going to be on iTunes, Spotify, Apple, and Google, and a couple of these little smaller platforms. It's going to be nice, but it's going to be an audio podcast on those platforms, not a video. I'm going to put video out on Spotify, but everywhere else is going to be audio. Spotify and YouTube will be video. So you'll still see it here or wherever you consume, but it's going everywhere. I'm going to see if I can't do something good. I'm also going to apply for some sponsorships once I get on Spotify, see if I can't make a little back-end money selling a few products on the back end of the show. Because, you know, when it all comes down to it, we live in a society and I need to eat. So, if I'm going to spend so much time on a show, I got to shorten my wire. Got to hitch in my giddy up. That ain't good. What's going on here? I think that's better. It's one of those self-fulfilling prophecy microphone cables. Pay for it. Plug it in, leave it alone, and in a year it goes bad because it was supposed to. Where is my April tonight? And my Diego? And my MVTV? All my crowd's not here tonight. What's up? It's good to see you, though, News Now. Hope you're doing well. You said as much, but I'm just repeating myself because I got nothing else to say. I'm excited about the new turnover in the program, though. I'm in the process of changing software, changing distribution agreements, and I'm going to put a brand new intro and a brand new outro and a bunch of new stingers for the show. Going to try to spruce it up a little bit, make it a little interesting. And by the way, I realize that the video is choppy, and I apologize about that. It is not my fault. It is the internet. And for some reason, they've got me throttled. I've got about 17 gigs of upload speed, but only about 0.75 upload speed. So I got 17 down and 0.75 up. And it should be 5 gigs up, and it's not. So that's why the video is choppy. There's literally nothing I can do about it, but I'm in the process of getting that fixed. I just have to throw more money at it, and as soon as I get enough money thrown at it, they will fix the problem, I suppose. And so the audio is good, so you just have to pretend you're watching a show with still pictures, and it'll jerk every now and then, and I'll be in a different position. That's the best I can do at the moment, though. But all things considered, when the new show comes out, that should not be an issue. Especially for the audio podcast, considering the audio is fine. But also, on all the other platforms, I'm going to be live on YouTube. But while I'm recording live on YouTube, I'm also recording a backup onto my computer. And that video is perfect. So what I'm going to do then is upload that video to a third-party software that'll propagate it to all the other platforms. So on all the other platforms, the video will be perfect and edited. But this will be live and it'll remain so. I keep adding more little steps to the process. I'm going to have to hire somebody to run that part of the show for me. There's too many things to do at one time. All these little steps I got to take. Got to go promote. Got to go set up. Got to go set the software up. Got to set the other software up. Got to edit the video. Got to upload the video. All these little steps. Takes about 4 hours to do after the show. So 2 hours of thinking and writing before the show, 2 hours for the show, and 4 hours of stuff after the show. That makes for a tired evening. What say you? You think it's worth it? I think it is, because we're making headway. I've gained a few subscribers this month. It's been on the uptake this month. So that's always lovely. If that trend continues, we will reach 300 before you know it. And I will then move us over to Rumble, where speech is actually free for the moment, without all the censorship. It'll still be on YouTube, but I'll be doing it from Rumble and putting it towards YouTube. And so that'll just become another step in the process. Mind you, I'm not complaining. I'm just keeping you apprised of the situation. Kind of feels like I'm complaining, don't it? I'm not. I'm actually enjoying myself. What is going on here? I'm going to refresh. Hang on a minute. If I lose you, I'll be back. My chat seems to not be functioning. Come on, come on, come on, come on, now touch me, baby. Don't you know that I am the one? Woo. All right. The day I decide to put a poll out, I've only got one vote. I wonder how long it'll be before I get another one. News Now, what are you doing this today? Are you out fishing? Are you out catching some catfish? I'm searching for a dorkfish. What's a dorkfish? A dorkfish talks like this. Ooh, dorkfish. I'm a dorkfish. How you like my hat? I've had it for a while. I wear it in pride, baby. It's so easy because the hat is the last thing you put on before you leave the house. It's so easy not to wear it. But I think to myself, I look at the hat rack and I say, no, I choose violence today. How hard do I want my day to be? That's about like refusing to wear that mask. I don't tell you what to do. You do whatever you got to do. But me personally, I don't wear no mask. And there's been a couple times that's become a problem. Like when I went to the hospital to fix my buddy's wheelchair. They weren't fixing it. They wanted me to fix it. But they wanted to force me to wear the face diaper. And I told them, I tell you what, if you put on a mask and I fart in your face, and if you tell me you can't smell it, then I'll wear the mask. If you can smell it, though, it ain't doing shit. Because COVID particles are smaller than fart particles. That's the kind of thinking we do here on Untethered Live, folks. That's called redneck ingenuity. A fart in the face is worth two in the bush or some such. Come on, talk to me, News Now. You're the only one here. Say something, buddy. I need you, man. You always come when I have nobody here, and it makes me feel like you think I don't do very well. Go back and look at the numbers. I do very well. It's just a slow night. It's Friday. Finally Friday once again. Everybody's gonna do get drunk again. It's finally Friday. Oh my Lord. I think I'm gonna go home because I'm bored. Hey folks, hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications when I'm going to be here. Smash the like button and subscribe and share and leave comments. And above all, most important thing you can do, if you really want to help out, if you really want to do something special, you can. VJ, now I lay me down to sleep. I got my own theme song. I've been a good doggy. Kibbles and bits and bits and bits. Put a little kibbles and bits in my bowl. PayPal.me/jakejohnsonband. CashApp $JakeJohnsonBand. All right, how about that? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I have bit the bullet and sold out. I now use CashApp also. That's $JakeJohnsonBand if you're interested. Or the ever political PayPal. PayPal.me/JakeJohnsonBand for all the good work I do and the hard-nosed, cutting-edge reporting that I do every day on the ground, out in the wilderness. Coming to you live. Like Walter Cronkite when he was more honest. Hey. I'm starting to think it's going to be one of those nights. One of these nights. One of these crazy old nights. I might play a song for you in a minute. How about that? We got some stuff to talk about, but I don't want to talk about it the only person watching. You know what? It'd probably help if I plugged it in. Ay caramba! How about that noise? That's a noise you don't hear every day. Hey. We're in business. Just a little patience. But I need That was terrible. But I can't sing, so that's okay. She got eyes that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories. Every day was as fresh as a bright blue sky. Now and then when I see that face, it takes me away to that special place. I never stayed too long, probably break down and cry. Oh, sweet child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. How about that? That's good stuff, man. Back when rock and roll was cool and country was something George Jones did. I miss those days. They don't make music like that anymore. I try to, but I just ain't that good of a writer. I write sappy stuff like, well, I made it here on time today. It's just another show on another stage. Don't know what I'll say. Don't know what I'll play to please this crowd. Seems to me that it dance beside the lights are shining too damn bright, burning in my head, making me forget why I love my job. And I can't hit the next note, so I'm gonna have to sing the harmony. This power trip is bigger than it used to be. Staying out all night is getting old. It's hard to get inspired on a rainy day. Tough to keep the fire in my soul. And it's hard to keep on living. And it's hard to keep from feeling old. Easy women and all-night bars, cheap hotels and rental cars. My kids at home, they call me on the phone 'cause they miss their dad. Woman got kinda tired of the race. She said, Jake, I just can't keep up the pace. Up and down the coast, all across the whole damn USA. I ain't lying, that's what she said. And this power trip is bigger than it used to be. Staying out all night is getting old. It's hard to get inspired on a rainy day. Tough to keep that fire in my soul. And it's hard to keep on living. It's so hard to keep from feeling old. Yes, hard to keep on living. And it's hard to keep from feeling so damn old. That's the kind of stuff I write. Yeah, all right. We did it. That's a Jake Johnson original. I hope you liked it. Thanks to COVID, I lost the top end of my voice. I almost lost the bottom end of it, too, in the middle, too. But now I can sing some. I just can't hit the high notes. So I have to modulate and restructure every song I do so that I can still do it. And that particular song, I can't sing the high note, so I sing the harmony note instead. But it ain't as good, but when I do it live, I'll see if I can get somebody to sing the high note for me, and then I'll sing the harmony note, and it'll work out. What's up, Caucasian Sasquatch? It's good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the show. Oh, I see you voting against me there, buddy. That's all right. I don't blame you. I'd vote against me, too. News now, says Caucasian. What's up? That's the what's up sign, not the other one. The much love. What's up, brother? It's good to see you. How are you doing this fine evening? Are you getting into all kinds of trouble on a Friday night? Are you having fun? Are you getting drunk? Are you laying all the ladies? What are you doing out there? Are you rode hard and put up with? I'm wearing my MAGA Force hat. MAGA Force. As if we're some kind of militia. Just a bunch of old people that voted for Trump because we don't like your politics. It's a policy. Anyway, I'm tired. I installed a 1K inverter in my truck. Well, excellent. You'll have no extroverters in that truck. They'll all be innies and not outies. I'm proud for you. I always try to get rid of the extroverts. If we can ever get 3 or 4 people here, I got some video to show you about a certain feller that made a speech last night. And I'd like to pour through it and do some investigating, some actual reporting, which is what you'll never see on the news. Because they're fake news. Sad part is, the best Republican candidate is a moderate Democrat from New York. Nah, that's a matter of opinion. I think the best Republican candidate is Ron DeSantis. You must have other criteria, though. I hadn't seen anything in New York worthy of voting for at all. I don't even know who you're talking about. I hope it ain't the governor that you're proud of, because she is a lunatic. You have to be a little specific. Let me know who you're talking about, because I may not know that person. But I think Ron DeSantis would make one hell of a president if he even, in fact, wants to run. He hasn't even let on that he wants to run yet, so we'll see. That's like a dream team kind of thing there. Oh, you're speaking of Trump. Oh, okay, I got you. It was a sarcastic remark. Hard to read tone in a text, but I got you now. You see, I'm wearing my hat, don't you? I got what you're saying. Yeah, ain't that something? The Bechtel test. I keep moving the Overton window. Technically, I'm the classical sense of what a Southern Democrat would be. But because they have moved the goalpost so far, I actually align with Republican or conservative values more so than anything the Democrats are claiming. I'd like to see DeSantis for president and Trump Speaker of the House. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. Because that would mean Nancy Pelosi would have to hand over the gavel to Trump. And then he could say anything he wanted to say, and nobody could stop him. Hilarious. I'd like to see Trump president again just for the sake of vindication, just for the sake of all the drama they put us through, just for the sake of saying, But in all truth, I think DeSantis would probably be a better president because he's a little bit more level-headed. But Trump is fantastic with the numbers, man. I mean, he knows how to run a business. So he has his upsides, too. A lot of downsides, but he has his upsides. I don't know if DeSantis can do that or not. He looks like he can, but sometimes you got to walk the walk and talk the talk. But I think I agree with you in that Trump should be in there somewhere helping DeSantis out, make decisions. But DeSantis should be the face. Pretty sure he can't, as ex-president, he can't hold certain offices. I haven't seen anything that would suggest he couldn't be Speaker of the House because that's a appointed, that's not a voted-in seat. That's appointed. So you can appoint whoever you want to, I think. I might be wrong about that. I'm not a political genius. But it seems to me like if it's an appointed seat, you could appoint whoever you want to. But you are right in that the president can't hold certain offices, but I don't know if that's one of them or not. But if he can run for president again, which he can, seems like he could be appointed Speaker of the House. Anyway, that would be hilarious if it could be done. Just to watch her hand him the gavel and slink back in her white would be hilarious. Watching her eat all that crow. Damn, Pelosi, I know you're hungry, but both feet? Sheesh. All right. Look, man, our president, our fearless leader, walked out on stage last night and declared 74 million people enemies of the country. Said we were a threat to the very soul of the country. We were, in fact, semi-fascist terrorists. That can't ban me for quoting something the president said. I didn't say it, he said it. That's terrifying. Think about the implications. Think about the balls it would take for any other president to say such a thing. Ridiculous. Sometimes I just don't know about a feller. Sometimes I wonder. But in a little while we're gonna watch that video and just see. Just to see. Yeah, they had the red lighting and the Marines standing behind them at attention. Very dictator-like, very fascist-like. Oh, I'm going to look up the word fascist on live internet and see if it says what I think it says. Okay, the Speaker of the House is voted on by the majority of the House. It's an in-house vote, so it's not technically appointed, but it is in-house. It's not something we can vote on. But yeah, that red background and the Marines standing at attention, just, it's like they were trying to paint a picture without saying anything. They were like, look at us, we're the real dictators. You want to see a fascist? I'll show you what fascist looks like. Never saw Trump look that way. I'd like to have a picture of Trump and Biden side by side in their address of a similar time and just see what the difference in the photographs are. Just see what kind of emotions they invoke. It's interesting to think. Looks like a totalitarian for sure. No room for different opinions. That's right. That's right. That's what we're talking about tonight. I guess my April ain't coming on tonight. Oh, what the hey, let's watch it. Let's go down here. Notice the decor that I chose for the evening's event. I thought it rather apropos. What do you think? All I need is a couple Marines standing back there around the corner. Let's see what the old man had to say. Whoopie-kapow. This is our president. Our president. Our fearless leader, ladies and gentlemen.
My fellow Americans, please, if you have a seat, take it.
Everybody's already sitting and you're already coughing.
I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America. Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its Declaration of Independence to the world more than 2 centuries ago with an idea unique among nations, that in America, we're all created equal. This is where the United States Constitution...
Keep that in mind, Mr. Biden, that we are all, you emphasize the word all, created equal.
Constitution was written and debated. This is where we set in motion the most extraordinary experiment of self-government the world has ever known.
And it worked for 200 years, right up until you took office.
With 3 simple words: we the people. We...
That's Democrats and Republicans, Mr. Biden.
The people. These 2 documents and the ideas they embody, equality and democracy, are the rock upon which this nation is built.
Incorrect, sir. This is not a democracy. This is a constitutional republic, led to by the idea of the very document you're referring to at the moment is a constitution, not a declaration of democracy.
They're how we became the greatest nation on earth. They're why, for more than 2 centuries, America has been a beacon to the world.
Because they followed the Constitution. Why are we no longer a beacon to the world? Because you stopped following the Constitution.
As I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation.
Please do.
About the threats we face, about the power we have in our own...
Fentanyl, an open border, China, gun violence in Democrat-run cities, school shootings, homelessness, drug prices, gas prices, the economy. Is that what we're going to talk about?
Hands to meet these threats, and about the incredible future that lies in front of us if only we choose it.
We choose it. We choose. Let's talk about the crumbling infrastructure. Let's talk about the lack of education in schools and the indoctrination of our children. Let's talk about that. Or should we talk about...
Never forget, we the people are the true heirs of the American experiment that began more than 2 centuries ago.
We, the people, not you and your people. We, the people. That's all of us, Mr. Biden.
We, the people, have burning inside of each of us the flame of liberty that was lit here at Independence Hall.
Liberty means freedom. Freedom of speech. Freedom to live out your life with your inalienable rights handed down by your creator, endowed to you by your creator, not by your government. The pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. Yes, we all want that. You want more, though, don't you?
A flame that lit our way through abolition, the Civil War, suffrage, the Great Depression, world wars, civil rights. That sacred flame still burns.
So why is it not working? Why are we having all of these little issues now? Why is all the race hatred and rioting and transgenderism and indoctrination and suppression of the freedom of speech and censorship and all that happening? The alphabet agencies working as a secret police for the administration currently in office. Why is all that happening if that is true?
Now in our time, as we build an America that is more prosperous, free, and just.
More prosperous? Have you looked at the numbers, Mr. Biden? I don't think you have. Years ago, I could fill my bike up for $10. Now it takes nearly $20.
That is the work of my presidency, a mission I believe in with my whole soul.
All of it?
But first,
not 1 ounce of your soul is in sniffing little kids? Your whole soul? Okay, I'm just asking.
We must be honest with each other and with ourselves. Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
You're absolutely right.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Donald Trump? It's been 2 years since Donald Trump has been in office. Why haven't you put that man behind you and moved on with your life and tried to do better for the country like you said you would the day you inaugurated? Why is his name on your lips 2 years in the making of your administration? Why are you talking about MAGA people, which incidentally means make America great again? Isn't it weird that you have a problem with making America great again? Aren't you talking about making America great again? Sounds to me like you're on the same page, yet you're calling him an enemy because he will win in the next election if you don't cheat.
Represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Extremism, eh? Did you ever see Trump deliver an address with a blood red setting behind him and Marines at attention ready to pounce at any moment? Did you ever see him walk up and deliver a speech and then walk away without answering any questions? Did you ever see him tell people that half the country was their enemy? What do you mean by extremism exactly?
Now, I want to be very clear up front. Even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans.
Really?
Not every Republican.
Have you looked at the numbers, Mr. Biden? I don't think you have. That's 75 million people. I said 75. The number is 74, but I'm counting the people you're not counting, which is all of the immigrants that you're bringing over here. At least half of them are conservative in nature, and you don't know it yet.
Embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans.
Mainstream Republicans. What you meant to say was rhino. That's Republican in name only. You mean Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and Kevin McCarthy and people like that, don't you? That's not a Republican, my friend. That's an old boys club. Don't want to change the status quo. Old man who's waiting to retire on the money he swindled from the American taxpayer.
But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Really? I'm not intimidated by a MAGA Republican. I are one. And I'm not out to hurt anybody. I am wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and I'm not trying to hurt anyone, nor do I want to. You are incorrect. I see fear in your eyes, Mr. Biden.
And that is a threat to this country.
No, it's not.
These are hard things. But
there have been Republicans in this country for 200 years or better. They've never threatened the country before, and they're not threatening it now.
I'm an American president, not a president of Red America, Blue America, but of
Red America, Blue America? Are you invoking Obama right now? Really? That speech that swindled the American people? You're pulling from that speech? You should really pay attention to your writing skills there, buddy, because you just gave a red flag to go along with your red background there. I don't see any blue in that background. And by the way, if this is the CNN feed, which I don't think it is, I think it's C-SPAN, but if it's CNN, I want you to go watch that and pay attention to how they change the color ever so slightly throughout this video to where by the end, the red stripes on the American flag are purple because they're trying to soften up that red because they know that that thing invokes certain feelings in people. That's how crooked they are.
All America. And I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult.
Tell the truth, Mr. Biden. Please, tell the truth. Let's talk about Hunter Biden. Let's talk about his laptop. Let's talk about your dealings with the Tsar of Ukraine. Let's talk about you not knowing anything about Hunter Biden's business dealings, despite voicemails with you asking Hunter Biden about his business meetings and the big guy referenced in his laptop emails. And let's just talk about that. Let's tell the truth, no matter how difficult. What's happening, Kevin Cox?
No matter how painful. And here, in my view, is what is true.
No, not one word, honestly? You're not even going to bring it up? Not even a nod?
MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people.
I only see one person talking about subverting the will of the people. Remember, Make America Great Again. It's in the title, buddy. The only person writing policies that subvert the will of the people is you. Everything Trump did, whether you liked him or not, was for the betterment of the country. It was America first. He ran on and functioned on America first. That's why you have a problem with him.
They refuse to accept the results of a free election.
They refuse to accept the results of a fraudulent election. It's not free and fair. I was there at 4 o'clock in the morning watching TV when the poll jumped and spiked up like that. That can't happen on accident.
And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself.
Really? Could you point one of those things out? Can you show me one place where that's occurring? Because as far as I know, the only person contesting the election at the moment is Arizona and possibly Ohio. Not state by state. There's a lot of people that kowtowed to your election.
MAGA forces are determined.
MAGA forces? What are we, the militia now? You're talking about a bunch of over the age of 30, mostly Southern American people. They're not a militia. It's not a MAGA force, and that's Make America Great Again. That's what MAGA stands for. So you're saying there's a Make America Great Again force, and you're scared of it. Does that not ring weird in your ears? Kind of bothers me a little.
To take this country backwards. Backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy,
Really? Who wrote the Patriot Act? Who was in office at that time? Were you there? Were you involved? Who caused black men to go to prison for crack for the highest number of years possible while letting white people go for cocaine for next to nothing? Who started the war on drugs? Who asked Facebook and Google to censor conservative voices? Who is subverting the will of the people here? Who is standing for the right to privacy and free and fair elections? Who is demanding ballot boxes and mail-in voter ballots? Who is refusing to allow people to vote with an ID when every red-blooded American agrees with this, even black people? Who are insulted by the fact that you think they can't find their way to an ID?
No right to contraception. No right to marry who you love.
When contraception, you're referring to people who are pro-life. We're not fighting for anti-contraceptives. The people that are pro-life are fighting for anti-abortion, not anti-contraceptives.
They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence.
They fan the flames of political violence. Who's doing the rioting and the burning down of buildings and the looting of department stores and the taking over of whole city blocks in Portland, Oregon, and calling it whatever the hell they called it? I can't even remember. Who's doing that? Who's tearing down statues and who's forcing certain cities to be sanctuary cities and leaving the border open and taking away funding from the police? Who's doing that? Is that the Republicans? I don't think it is.
That are a threat to our personal rights, to the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law.
Is Hunter Biden or Hillary Clinton in jail right now? Are there innocent people in jail over January 6th that have not even had a trial yet, but yet they've been in jail for over a year? That's the lack of due process. Did somebody outside of the courthouse on January 6th when the FBI has video of the person's face? Did the guy who tried to kill Kavanaugh get arrested? Or is it even being investigated? Is Hunter Biden in jail? What do you mean, rule of law?
To the very soul of this country.
This country has no soul. It died 2 years ago.
They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th.
You mean the Trump rally? That's what you're calling a mob? Did it look anything like the mob that was in New York for 3 days when Trump was elected? Did it look anything like the mob that went through Portland, Oregon up until recently? Did it look like anything BLM ever did? No, it didn't. It was a bunch of old, unarmed Republicans walking in a public building that they thought belonged to them, the people, we the people who tax fund or pay. That's how that building is able to exist, is it was tax funded, taxpayer funded. So they thought they were doing what they had the right to do up until you made it illegal, which it isn't illegal, by the way. You just arrested them for no reason. And the only person, by the way, who died that we know for sure died was Ashley Babbitt, who was shot in the neck by a Washington, D.C. police officer with a history of reckless gun behavior. Yet you're going to lie about it in a minute and say that several police officers died that day. They did not. That's a lie.
Brutally attacking law enforcement. Not as in.
Can you name one person who brutally attacked law enforcement? Can you name their name? One name.
Insurrectionist who placed a dagger, but they look at them as patriots. And they see their MAGA failure to stop a peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 election.
Did anybody stand in the way of your peaceful transfer of power? Did anybody even slow it down? Did it happen on the time that it was supposed to happen? Did anybody force their way into the White House and stop you from taking the presidency? What do you mean forcing the peaceful transfer? That's a lie, Joe Biden.
As preparation for the 2022 and 2024 elections.
There it is, folks. That's what the man is showing fear on his face about, because he knows good and well as he stands there last night that he's not going to win the 2024 election. He's already lost it. He is scrambling, and so are the rest of them, for everything they can get their hands on. They're flailing. No, that his approval ratings is below 38%. That's lower than Trump's ever was, by the way.
They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people.
81? You believe 81 million people voted for you? 81 million people didn't vote for Trump. Has any of your audiences ever looked like any of his? Ever? You didn't even campaign. 81 million people didn't vote for Obama, and most Republicans voted for Obama. Do you understand the words that are coming out of your mouth? There are not 81 million voters. There are 74 that didn't get their way. So they're made. But there are 350 million people in the country. If you're saying that over half of them voted for you, I think you are fooling yourself.
This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting.
No, April, he called it MAGA power. MAGA, Make America Great Again. MAGA.
The will of the people. That's why respected conservatives like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Ludwig has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to...
Now you're quoting movies. They are not a clear and present danger to anything other than you becoming president again. That's what they're a danger to. They're a danger to you not winning the election. That is the only danger that exists from those people.
Democracy. But while the threat to American democracy is real,
yes, and it stands before us.
We can. We are not powerless.
Nope.
In the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy.
Ongoing attack? The only person talking about it is you. None of the Republicans are talking about attacking you, Joe Biden. Nobody cares about you. That's the sad truth of the matter. If it weren't for you fanning the flames constantly, and your cronies and your people in the news media always talking about Donald Trump, when you should have put it behind you the day you were elected and moved forward with your life. 2 years later, you're talking about MAGA forces as if that's a real thing. I wonder why he's living so rent-free in your head. Could it be because you know you'd lose to him in a fair fight?
There are far more Americans from every background and belief who reject the extreme MAGA ideology than those.
What is the extreme MAGA ideology, Joe? Mr. Biden, Mr. President, what is the extreme Make America Great Again ideology? We believe in God. Is that the ideology you're referring to? We believe in a family, the nuclear family, that a father should be in the home and raise his children. We believe that we should be able to walk down the street without fear of being robbed. We believe that if we work hard for our money, we should get it. What is the ideology in which you refer to? Could you please enlighten us on that? What is a woman?
Those that accept it. And folks, it's within our power, it's in our hands, yours, to stop the assault on American democracy.
There is no such thing as American democracy, Joe. We live in a constitutional republic. It is governed by the Constitution of the United States of America. You are voted in by we, the people. You work for us, not the other way around. You are not the dictator. We are the governing body that elects you into office so that we don't have to deal with infrastructure and wars. and education and hospitals, and that's it. You don't need any more power than that.
I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those moments that determine the shape of everything that's to come after. And now, America must choose to move forward or to move backwards.
We choose Donald Trump. Okay, can we move on now?
To build a future or obsess about the past. To be a nation of hope and unity and optimism. Or a nation of fear, division, and of darkness.
Says the guy in a darkly lit, blood-red environment with Marines standing at attention behind him, looming over his podium as if he is to say, and he's upshot with the camera facing upwards to denote power. That's who is telling you what he just said. For the love of God, Joe, look in a mirror. You are the dictator, sir.
MAGA Republicans have made their choice.
Yes.
They embrace anger.
No.
They thrive on chaos.
How many MAGA Republicans are on TV right now yelling about their opposite party? Do you hear any anger coming from anybody? Or do you hear concern and fear that you're going to drive us into the rocks? Because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about dominating you. We already won. In a fair election, in a fair fight, we win hands down every time. The only way you can win is by gerrymandering and by tricking the country into voting for you and by supplanting the voters, by using ballot boxes and secret mail-in voter registrations and not allowing people to have IDs so that anybody can vote, and 3 or 4 times at that. My opinion, of course. I don't know that to be true, and I'm not telling you it is. I'm just making an observation based on what I can see from my little box on the internet.
They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies. But together we can choose a different path. We can choose a better path forward to the future.
We did. We voted, and we chose a better path, and it was paying off. Record high unemployment rates. We were breaking records every day in the stock market. Companies were coming back to America. Gas was at an all-time low over the last 8 years. It was the lowest it had been. Everything felt alive and vibrant. CNN's numbers were up above the rafters because they were covering Trump. We did choose together a brighter future, and then you came in and took it all away. Day one, you shut down our access to our own oil so that we were dependent on other countries for it. Day two, you reinstated that abysmal global warming apparatus. I forget what it's called, NACA or something like that, whatever it is. But you reinstituted it. He pulled us out of it, the Paris Accord, Climate Accord, that's it. He pulled us out of it, you put us back in it. Day three, you aligned yourself with the CDC and the World Health Organization, which are known to be propaganda machines and lie through their teeth on a regular basis. Question mark.
A future of possibility, a future to build and dream and hope. And we're on that path moving ahead. I know this nation. I know you, the American people. I know your courage. I know your hearts. And I know our history. This is a nation that honors our Constitution. We do not reject it. This is a nation...
Really? Because the Constitution has amendments. First Amendment, freedom of speech. Second Amendment, right to bear arms. On and on and on. Do you really honor the Constitution? Because I don't think you do.
That believes in the rule of law. We do not repudiate it.
How can you believe in the rule of law and defund police? That's an oxymoron.
This is a nation that respects free and fair elections. We honor the will of the people. We do
not
deny it. And this is a nation that rejects violence as a political tool. We do not encourage violence.
Really? Why is there so much violence in the streets under your regime? Why did the vice president, Kamala Harris, pay with taxpayer money, I presume? I don't know where she got the money. She might have fundraised, but she paid to have people bailed out of jail who committed acts of violence under certain three-letter associates. That your political enemies are rotting in jail right now because they disagreed with you, because they sought to check out whether or not there was any fuckery in the election. Position the MAGA forces if you don't support political violence. Why are you calling for an all-out war on Republicans right now if you don't support political violence? What are you saying, man?
We are still an America that believes in honesty and decency.
Can we talk about Hunter Biden, honest man, decent man? Can we talk about your daughter's diary? And what can we talk about your attack on Project Veritas? Can we talk about the raid at Mar-a-Lago and what you doing there, and the fact that you said you had no knowledge of it, yet it came from the DOJ, which answers to the pleasure of the president? They don't work autonomously. They work under the pleasure of the president. They do what the president tells them to do. Can we talk about that?
And respect for others. Patriotism, liberty, justice for all, hope, possibilities. We are still, at our core, a democracy.
We are not a democracy. Quit saying the word democracy. We are a constitutional republic. We serve our lives out under the tutelage and the wisdom of the Constitution of the United States of America, penned by our forefathers who had the insight to know that this kind of stuff was going to come up. They made a provision for us to get around people like you and your people are subverting that wisdom. You are not a democracy. You're voted in by we the people. Democracy is mob rule. It is majority rule. That is not how this country works. We have a House, we have a Senate, we have a presidency. That's a three-branch government system. And then we have the Supreme Court and the alphabet agencies and so forth and so on to keep checks and balances. We have that very reason, so that we don't get dictators in the office. It's set up so that people like you don't rise to power. How you got there was not honestly.
History tells us that blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy.
Really? Isn't that what you're calling for right now? Blind allegiance to you? Anybody that disagrees is an enemy of the state?
For a long time, we've told ourselves that American democracy is guaranteed, but it's not. We have to defend it, protect it, stand up for it, each and every one of us.
Completely invent it, because that is not the country you live in. You live in a constitutional republic, not a democracy.
That's why tonight I'm asking our nation to come together, unite behind the single purpose of defending our democracy regardless of your ideology.
Against what, Joe? Defend our democracy against what? Against open borders? Against China? Against Ukraine? Against North Korea? Against you? Against lies? What are we uniting against regardless of our ideology? There should only be one ideology, the one that is enshrined in the Constitution, that we get our rights from our Creator, endowed to us inalienably by our Creator. That's the only ideology that should be in existence in this country. I mean, in the leadership.
We're all called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power.
defend against extremists. You mean fascists, right? Is that what you're talking about, fascism? Are you saying we're fascists?
Above all else, Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans, we must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy.
Mainstream Republicans, by that you mean rhinos, right? Republican in name only. Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, those kind of people.
And MAGA Republicans are to destroying American democracy.
Are they? Are we destroying American democracy by demanding that we have a vote that you can count, that we can check against a paper ballot with a voter ID? That's destroying democracy? That we're in favor of the rule of law? That we're in favor of our constitutional God-given rights? That we're in favor of honest, good, hardworking, law-abiding citizens bearing arms? That we're about free speech? We are the ones who are destroying your democracy?
We, the people, will not let anyone or anything tear us apart. Today, there are dangers around us we cannot allow to prevail.
What are those dangers? Is it fentanyl overdoses? Is it an open border? Is it Hunter Biden doing shady deals with Russia and China and all that sort of thing? Is it China not allowing Taiwan to be its own country? Is it the Uyghurs? What is the dangers that you're referring to?
We here, you've heard it, more and more talk about violence.
From you.
As an acceptable political tool.
From your party.
In this country. It's not. It can never be an acceptable tool.
Then why do you wield it so strongly every day?
So I want to say this plain and simple. There is no place for political violence in America, period. None, ever.
Good. Stop political violence today, Joe Biden. Stop calling for a war on the opposition party. Because that's what you're doing here with your blood red background and your military escorts.
We saw law enforcement brutally attacked on January the 6th.
Really? Can you name one name of law enforcement that was brutally attacked on January 6th? One name. What about three names? Who is it that was brutally attacked on January 6th? The only person that literally died that we are verifiably able to prove died was Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed Trump supporter. No law enforcement were killed by any person. One guy had a stroke. That's it. He had a stroke because he was old and overweight and his blood pressure skyrocketed. Probably because of your hateful rhetoric. I assume. I don't know.
We've seen election officials, poll workers, many of them volunteers of both parties, subject to intimidation and death threats. And can you believe it? FBI agents just doing their job as directed, facing threats.
Did you just say you directed the FBI to do their job, which was to break into Mar-a-Lago and take stuff that the president rightfully has the right to have?
To their own lives from their own fellow citizens.
What about when Kavanaugh was almost assassinated? Or when that guy was shot brutally on the ball field? What about when the curly-haired fella got attacked in his front yard when he was cutting grass? Did you say anything about any of those attacks?
On top of that, there are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Really? And who is doing all that rioting in the streets? Can you name one Republican affiliate that was rioting in the streets at any given time, except for on January 6th, which was a Trump rally, by the way. Period. That wasn't a riot. There may have been some agent provocateurs and some FBI agents in the audience, but the majority of the people there were just there to hear Trump for the last time. And then to go to the People's House, a public building that is taxpayer funded, to let their voices be heard. And they were waved in, and gates were opened by law enforcement. They had no idea they were doing anything wrong. That's not a riot. What happened in Portland, Oregon was a riot. What happened in New York was a riot. What happens in Chicago is a riot.
This is inflammatory. It's dangerous. It's against the rule of law. And we, the people, must say, this is not who we are.
This is not who we are. We are MAGA country, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. They're incompatible.
Correct. So stop
Allow violence to be normalized in this country. It's wrong.
Says the man who waited 2 full years before ever saying those words, while the country burned, while riots in the streets daily. Didn't hear you say that until now. I think you might be on the end of when it's slowing down. Now it's safe to say it.
We each have to reject political violence with all the moral clarity and conviction this nation can muster. Now, we can be undermined. For that is a path to chaos.
We don't want the integrity of our elections to be undermined. We want them to be fair and transparent. We don't want to question whether or not the voter machines are online or not. We don't want to see boxes and boxes of ballots pulled out from under tables on security cameras and then added to the pile, or trucks show up at 4 o'clock in the morning carrying coolers full of ballots. We don't want to see any of that. We want to walk up to a person with a registered identification card and say, I am me, and then vote on a piece of paper and stuff it in an envelope and put it in a box that is locked. And that have a Republican and a Democrat watching in the building, not outside with boarded up windows because they don't want you seeing what's going on, in the building, observing what's happening, and chain of custody all the way to where those votes are counted and tallied. That is what we want. We don't want our elections to be illegal. We want them to be free and clear and transparent. That's everybody who is doing a right thing. Anybody who's cheating wants something other than that.
I know politics can be fierce and mean and nasty in America. I get it. I believe in the give and take of politics, in disagreement and debate and dissent.
Why then do you not take questions? Why do you say your little piece and then scurry off without answering a single question? Trump was the most transparent president we've ever had. You couldn't stop him from talking. That's what we want. He had a White House press corps that daily took questions. Every day. Where's yours? Are you talking about that Korean woman who lies through her teeth daily? That's not a press corps. She doesn't answer 90% of the questions provided to her because they're all against you.
We're a big, complicated country, but democracy endures only if we, the people, respect the guardrails of the republic.
Republic and democracy are not the same thing, Joe. Those are two different ways of doing business. Democracy is majority rule. Republic is voted in representatives.
We, the people, accept the results of free and fair elections only if
you win.
See politics not as total war, but mediation of our differences. Democracy cannot survive when one side believes there are only two outcomes to an election. Either they win or they were cheated. And that's where...
Well, this time, that's for sure.
The MAGA Republicans are today.
Nope. The MAGA Republicans did not cheat. I'm sorry. That wasn't Republicans doing all that shady stuff.
And what every patriotic American knows, you can't love your country only when you win. It's
right. Think about that.
Fundamental.
Think about the 3 years of the Russia hoax. Russia. Think about all of the vitriol that was heaped on Donald Trump to this day, 2 years after he's left office and hasn't really said a whole lot in public until recently. Still hatred every day from every news outlet that leans to the left of anything. Who is the person who only loves America when they're winning?
American democracy only works only if we choose to respect the rule of law and the institutions that were set up in this chamber behind me.
You can't respect the rule of law and defund the police at the same time. That's an oxymoron. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. And by the way, democracy only works if you repeatedly, constantly say the word democracy, which will be the last word you say in this address.
Only if we respect our legitimate political differences. I will not stand by the will of the American people be overturned by wild conspiracy theories and baseless evidence-free claims of fraud. I will not stand.
Yeah. Can you show us? And can you lift the veil and let us see? Can you release the numbers? Can you allow us to investigate so that we know that it was a free and fair election instead of swatting down everybody that's even questions it and censoring people and making it where you can't even say the words on YouTube without getting banned or shadow banned or whatever vernacular they're choosing to use at this time? Will you let the numbers loose and be transparent so that we can all see for ourselves, and then we'll stop questioning it because we can see plainly that it was a free and fair election? Why not do that?
By and watch elections in this country stolen by people who simply refuse to accept that they lost.
Stolen by voter mail-in ballots and ballot boxes and what do you call it when you can vote past the time that it's due and send it in, a retroactive vote? Yeah, that's how you win elections. It's called gerrymandering, for lack of a better word.
I will not stand by and watch the most fundamental freedom in this country, the freedom to vote, and have your vote counted and be taken from you and the American people. Look.
I'm looking.
As your president, I will defend our democracy with every fiber of my being, and I'm asking every American to join me.
Yeah, but will you defend our constitutional republic too?
Throughout our history, America has often made the greatest progress coming out of some of our darkest moments, like you're hearing that bullhorn. I believe we can and must do that again.
That bullhorn is someone protesting your rhetoric and lies. That's not a dark moment. That is their constitutional right. They have every right to protest peacefully and loudly at your nonsense speech.
And we are. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair.
Just because it's full of carnage, darkness, and despair, Joe.
They spread fear and lies. Power.
Really? Can you name one?
But I see a different America. An America with an unlimited future. An America that's about to take off.
Yep, in 2 more years. I
hope you see it as well. Just look around. I believe we could lift America from the depths of COVID. So we passed the largest economic recovery package since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And today, America's economy is faster, stronger than any other advanced nation in the world.
Do you remember 2 years ago when America was faster and stronger and more advanced than it is currently right now, Joe Biden? That's a bald-faced lie. And by the way, Roosevelt would turn over in his grave if he understood what you were doing to this country. You must understand that that isn't true. You do not live. Just think about how much gas cost 2 years ago versus what it costs today. That's your fault. You shut down the pipeline. You put into law policies that made us have to depend on foreign countries for the oil that we were getting in this country 2 years ago.
We have more to go. I believe we could build a better America. So we passed the biggest infrastructure investment since President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Really? Why are our bridges collapsing as we speak? And Eisenhower warned us of the industrial military complex which stands behind you at this very moment. At attention, he warned us not to let them gain power because they would do exactly what you're doing.
And we've now embarked on a decade of rebuilding the nation's roads, bridges, highways, ports, water systems, high-speed internet.
Are you going to fix Flint, Michigan while you're doing all of that? And how come my internet is so slow? If you're dealing with high-speed internet, you invested so much money. How come I have 0.6 upload speed when it should be 5 gigs? In a not rural area, close to a city.
Roads.
Flint, Michigan.
I believe we could make America safer, so we passed the most significant gun safety law since President Clinton.
Really? You know, Waco happened while Clinton was in office. If you pass laws against guns, only criminals will have guns.
I believe we could go from being the highest cost of prescriptions in the world to making prescription drugs and healthcare more affordable. So we passed the most significant healthcare reform since President Obama signed the Affordable Care Act.
The Affordable Care Act was abysmal. It ruined lots and lots of people's lives where they had to choose between groceries and insulin, for example. My personal medications skyrocketed to the point I could barely pay for them without assistance. The only way you can afford the medication in this country is to be on Medicaid, when, by the way, you can buy insulin for like $7 in Mexico, and it's like $300 here. Think about it. I wish you'd hurry up if you have passed such a law.
And I believe we could create a clean energy future and save the planet. So we passed the most important climate initiative ever.
You were charging electric cars with coal-powered energy, my friend. When you figure out a way to charge your electric cars with electricity that is made by green energy, then I will switch to an electric car. Until then, quit talking about it, because you ain't doing nothing but lying to people. And I can see it in your face. You want to say make America great again so bad you can taste it, don't you? I can see it in your face. You're doing everything you can not to let those 4 words slip out of your mouth. We're going to make America strong again. I heard you.
The cynics and the critics tell us nothing can get done, but they're wrong.
Really?
There is not a single thing America cannot do, not a single thing beyond
Can it lower gas prices?
our capacity.
Can it release Jeffrey Epstein's client list? Can it admit that Hunter Biden's laptop is a real story?
If we do it together. It's never easy, but we're proving that America, no matter how long the road, Progress does come.
And then it goes when a Democrat gets elected. And then we have to wait until a Republican is elected before it comes again.
Look, I know the last few years have been tough, but today, COVID no longer controls our lives. Businesses are growing, our schools are open. Millions of Americans have been lifted out of poverty. Millions of veterans once exposed to toxic burn pits will now get what they deserve, compensation.
What toxic burn pits are you referring to?
American manufacturers come alive across the heartland, and the future will be made in America.
Really? Will it make America great again, Joe?
No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say, I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off, proving that from darkness, the darkness of Charlottesville, of COVID, of gun violence, of insurrection, we can see the light. Light is not.
What darkness are you referring to other than darkness that you created? All of those things that you just labeled off ended in violence from the opposition of the Republicans, not because of the Republicans.
Now visible. Light that will guide us forward, not only in words, but in actions. Actions for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, for America. Even in this moment, with all the challenges we face, I give you my word as a Biden, I've never been more optimistic about America's future. Not because of me, but because of who you are. We're going to end cancer as we know it. Mark my word.
What? Did you just say you were going to defeat cancer? Really? Is that a promise you can keep there, buddy? I don't think you can. They've been trying to beat cancer for the last 100 years. What are you talking about, and where did that even come from? Who's even talking about a cure for cancer? You can't even get past COVID. Your vaccines are troublesome. But you're going to end cancer. You promise. Okay.
Words. We're going to create millions of new jobs in a clean energy economy. We're going to think big. We're going to make the 21st century another American century because the world needs us to.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make America grow. You know the thing.
That's where we need to focus our energy. Not in the past, not on divisive culture wars, not on the politics of grievance.
All of that stuff, the divisive culture wars and the policy of grievance and all of that is present stuff, Joe, not past stuff. We got over that stuff, and Obama brought it back, and you have carried it forward.
But on a future we can build together. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail.
The MAGA Republicans are 74 million voters. That's more than a third of all voters in this country. Do you hear what you're saying?
They believe America, not like I believe about America. No. I believe America is big enough for all of us to succeed. And that is
all of us except for those MAGA voters, right?
Nation we're building, a nation where no one is left behind. I ran for president because I believe we're in a battle for the soul of this nation. I still believe that to be true.
A battle against who? You just said it was big enough for all of us, except for those MAGA forces. Right? Why does everything you say sound like we the people except for anybody that voted for Trump? Think about what you're saying, my friend.
I believe the soul is the breath, the life, and the essence of who we are.
No, that would be Jesus. You got your parables in the wrong place.
The soul is what makes us, us. The soul of America is defined by the sacred proposition that all are created equal in the image of God.
Really?
That all are...
Who's this God you speak of?
entitled to be treated with decency, dignity, and respect, that all deserve justice and a shot at lives of prosperity and consequence.
Really? So you're going to let those people that you got in jail over January 6th, you're going to let them out, right? Because they haven't even had a trial yet. They haven't even been charged of a crime yet they're in maximum security prison, and most of them are in solitary confinement as we speak. And we're talking about old people and retarded people like that guy wearing the big horn hat. Come on, man. Let those people out. Where's Kamala Harris raising money for their bail?
And that democracy must be defended, for democracy makes all these things possible.
No, our Constitution makes all these things possible. It isn't about you, Joe. Your democracy doesn't exist. We live in a constitutional republic. Get it through your head.
Folks, and it's up to us. Democracy begins and will be preserved in we, the people's habits of the heart, in our character, optimism that is tested yet endures, courage that digs deep when we need it, empathy that fuels democracy, the willingness to see each other not as enemies but as fellow Americans.
All except for those MAGA forces.
Look, our democracy isn't perfect. It always has been.
Yes, because it's not real. We don't live in a democracy. Democracies fail. They always do. Because majority rule can be wrong a lot of the time. Remember, it was majority rule that caused Galileo and his problems. You understand?
Notwithstanding those folks you hear on the other side there.
Those folks are chanting "fuck Joe Biden," by the way, in case you can't hear them.
They're entitled to be outrageous. This is a democracy.
No, this is a constitution, and it's the First Amendment. The right to freedom of speech. That's why they're entitled.
But history and common sense. Good manners is nothing they've ever suffered from. But history and common sense tell us that opportunity, liberty, and justice for all are most likely to come to pass in a democracy.
Really? So you're going to let the people out of jail from January 6th and you're going to arrest Hillary Clinton and Hunter Biden, right? Because that would be justice for all. That's not rules for thee and not for me.
We have never fully realized the aspirations of our founding, but every generation has opened those doors a little bit wider to include more people who have been excluded before. My fellow Americans, America is an idea, the most powerful idea in the history of the world, and it beats in the hearts of the people of this country.
It did.
It beats in all our hearts. It unites America. It is the American creed, the idea that America guarantees that everyone be treated with dignity. It gives hate no safe harbor. It installs in everyone the belief that no matter where you start in life, there's nothing you can't achieve. That's who we are. That's what we stand for. That's what we believe. And that's precisely what we're doing. Opening doors, creating possibilities, focusing on the future.
Printing money, writing laws, making it up as we go along.
And we're only just beginning.
Jesus Christ. Please, Lord, don't let that be true.
Our task is to make our nation free and fair, just and strong, noble and whole. And this work is the work of democracy, the work of this generation. It is the work of our time, for all time. We can't afford to leave anyone on the sidelines.
Except for those MAGA people, because they're the enemy of the soul of the country.
So speak up, speak out, get engaged, vote, vote, vote.
Vote Republican if you want your freedom back, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you must do. You must vote Republican. Why? because they're the only ones left with any common sense. Are they correct? Not always. They make mistakes, lots of them, but they're making way less mistakes than the opposition, and they are not attacking your very freedoms. So if you want freedom, come this next election and then 24 prospectively, vote Republican on everything, straight down the ticket, and keep doing it until these people are gone, because if you don't, you will truly understand the meaning of the word fascist. By the way, fascist. Let's take a look at what that word means. Come on, Slowpoke. Let me try that again. There it is. Let's find out exactly what the word fascist means, because it's used quite a lot to describe certain people. Where'd you go? There it is. This is the Webster's Dictionary, I believe. The definition of the word fascist or fascism, often capitalized, a political philosophy, movement, or regime of the fascist. The word fascist comes from the word fasci, which means a bundle of sticks held together by ropes for strength. That's what a fascist is. That exalts nation and often race above individual, that stands for centralized government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of the opposition. A tendency towards or actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control. Does this sound like anybody you may know? With their blood-red background and their military marines standing at attention ready to pounce and shot upwards with the light coming from underneath to denote strength and autocracy, to show that a dictator standing over his podium talking down to his constituents. This is what a fascist looks like, ladies and gentlemen. So the next time you hear somebody use that word on the news or in the office, I want you to conjure this image in your mind, because this is truly what they are referring to.
And if we
Democracy.
if we do our duty in 2022 and beyond, then ages still to come will say, we, all of us, faith, we preserve democracy. We heeded our worst, we heeded not our worst instincts, but our better angels. We proved that for all its imperfections, America is still the beacon to the world.
Since and voted Republican in 2024.
An ideal to be realized, a promise to be kept. There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred, nothing more American
than democracy.
That's our soul. That's who we truly are. And that's who we must always be. I have no doubt, none, that this is who we will be, and that we'll come together as a nation that will secure our democracy, that for the next 200 years, we'll have what we had the past 200 years, the greatest nation on the face of the earth.
If you want that, you'll vote Republican, because a Democrat didn't make the capitalist society in which we live. A Democrat did not make us the greatest nation on the face of the earth. A Democrat did not win all the wars that we won. A Democrat did not stand up and say, look at that shining city on the hill. A Democrat did not paint that picture in our minds, did not give us the patriotism in which we grew up thinking about and believing in. That was not a democratic way of thinking. A Democrat did not free the slaves. A Democrat, in fact, enslaved the people. So if you want a country like he's describing, when you go to the polls, you'll vote Republican, period. I rest my case.
We need to remember who we are. We are the United States of America, the
Democracy.
United States of America. And may God protect our nation, and may God protect all those who stand watch over our democracy. God bless you all. Democracy.
Democracy. Now, they're not going to show it on this clip, but Joe Biden's wife comes out and tries to escort him off, and he reaches out and grabs for the microphone again and tries to talk, and they cut his ass off because they didn't want him to say anything off script. Period. See if you can find that clip. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our commander-in-chief, our president of the United States of America, calling over a third of American people enemies of the soul of the country. Almost calling on all and all-out civil war. Saying that if you don't agree, you are the enemy. These are my opinions. I am not telling you what to think or what to do. I am not trying to subvert democracy or to call out anything untoward or propagate any conspiracy theories. I'm only reacting to what I saw from the bottom of my heart in the moment. Choose to believe what I say. By all means, do what you feel is right and follow your instincts. Don't listen to me or anybody else on this talking box. That being said, I meant every word of it. Vote Republican. Thank you. Questions and comments. But before that, would you please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online and when my new videos drop. Press the like button. It's right in front of you. It's free. It takes no effort at all, and it really does help our channel with the algorithms and helps us get recommended to other people. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critically, that's what I want. Critical thought, real critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you dig what I do and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to be part of something special and help out and help us keep reaching other people and growing and growing and growing, you can do that. You can support us by going to PayPal and go to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Or if you use CashApp, you can go to $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing for me. It's a blessing for you too. And I greatly appreciate your support and confidence. And we'll do everything in my power to be worthy of it. And with that said, I will take all of your questions and comments. What did you think of the presentation tonight? Did you like it? Did you learn anything? Did it scare the bejesus out of you? It did me. It made me put my hat on. Please get this psycho out, God. Amen, sister. Diego, what's up, my brother? Biden and his clique are enemies of America. Us. Yes. Or U.S. Yes. MVTV, what's happening, my brother? I felt pity for that man. I did too when he first got elected, and then I saw him in action. Montana, hi. Biden is a communist who wants to destroy America and turn it into America. He is gonna let criminals out. Wow. Like the Purge. OMG. Now that's scary. What the fuck? Amen, sister. He's trying to egg it all on. Yes, he is, MBTV. Yes, he is. At least he was heckled throughout. Even if the mics here didn't pick it all up. Why he can't show his face in unrestricted public. Evil SOB. Yes, he is. I still believe there's going to be riots before Christmas. You may very well be right, Kev. You may very well be right. Biden's out of his ever-loving mind. Imagine this image of Marines replacing the pride of Mount Pinatubo. Oh, gag me with a spoon like gag a maggot, yo. How's everybody doing? You guys have fun tonight? Did you learn anything? Did you feel good about it? Did it scare you to death? Biden's blowing up. Yes, he is, Diego. He's actually, pedo Hitler is trending on Twitter today, by the way. I thought that was interesting. They're talking about Biden. Jake, I'm having a hard time tuning in. The weather is bad here. Signals are bad, so I'll try to keep on as long as I can. I hope you're still here, honey. You want war, Joke Taliban? We'll give it to you in the midterms. Yes. Go vote Republican. Or whatever your conscience allows you to do. But Republican. Moving on. Vote Trump. Yes. That's right. Yay, says April. Joke Biden, MAGA Republicans love America. You tell him, Jake. Woohoo. Amen. Start a channel called MAGA Force 5. I might. I may very well do that. That's a good idea, actually. Y'all hang on a second. I got to fix something. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Sorry about that. I ran out of drink, and I was getting a dry mouth. Biden's already passed his expiration date. Who's pulling the strings? Sorry, Jake. Another late arrival tonight. That's all right, buddy. I understand. Hit that like button all and feed Jake. We love you all. Remember, vote Republican. I beg you, says April. Thank you. And Diego follows that up by a very hefty Trump 2024. Amen. Right on and yay, Diego. What is that? Descant? Or DeSantis? It must be a typo. Is showing Charlie Crist ads in Florida where Crist says great things about Biden. I will vote 7 times in the election to equal 1 Democratic donkey vote. Yea, they will try to steal. Yes, they will. Who is this Charlie Chris guy? I've heard his name a couple times, but I don't know anything about him. Yes, complaining about the so-called insurrection, yet ignoring all of the BLM and Antifa riots that caused millions of dollars in damage. They do that quite a lot, while saying they're about law and order, yet they let all that just go. And in some cases pay to have them freed, which really gripes my craw. It in the FLA, they hate DeSantis, but we love him. The only problem with DeSantis being president is we lose the best Florida governor ever. Vote DeSantis. Also, go Dogs. Ha ha. Yeah, that's a big problem for Florida, isn't it? You lose the great president or the great governor if you get a good president. I live in Tennessee, and here Bill Lee is our governor. He's a good Republican. Yes, he is. DeSantis is my top governor. I don't live in Florida, but he must make Floridians proud of living in Florida. Don't California my Tennessee. Amen, brother. Don't California my North Carolina or my Florida either, or my Georgia, or my Texas. Hey. We got ourselves a sports update from Kevin Cox. Tampa Bay Devil, eggs 9. New York loser Yankees 0. Go Rays. Remember, I gotta scroll. Georgia plays Oregon at 3:30 tomorrow. Go Dogs. Do not wear green. Sorry, wrong button. Our governor is pretty much anti-mask, no BS in the schools, but guess we keep more under the radar. Yeah, well, it's everywhere, buddy. It's everywhere. Chris used to be a Republican and was our governor prior. Boo Christ. So he was the guy DeSantis replaced, is that what you're saying? And he flip-flopped? I did not know that. Kevin Cox Sports Update. Just classic stinger. Thank you, sir. I worked hard on that. I made that stinger. It don't look like much, but it took me about 3 hours to get done. I'm glad you approve. I used to live in Florida for about 15 years, by the way. It was not the same county or town that it is now. And I've actually considered moving back to Florida because I really love what's going on down there. Miami has become a safe city because of its governorship. Miami used to be the cocaine capital of the world. It used to be murders every day in the streets, gang violence, and all kinds of stuff when I was growing up. That's where Scarface comes from, you know. But now it's a nice, decent neighborhood, and the Mexicans welcome you in, and the Cubans, they're just as nice and Republican as they can be. I'm actually quite impressed. And the folks up there in D.C. don't like that a bit. They hate Florida for it. Florida stayed open during the pandemic, and they've done quite well for themselves. I'm glad it's over now. Geez, how scary. Well, I didn't mean to scare you, but I thought it necessary to point out what was being said if you missed it. And I hope I don't get in any trouble for my feelings on the subject. I hope they don't ban my channel or anything drastic like that, because every word I said was the truth. Every word I said was introspective of what was being said, and not only my opinion, but the opinions of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of other people, maybe even millions. feel the same way. I'm just voicing it. So I hope that they don't find the necessity to cut me off because I made some observations about our president, whom, like it or not, we have to live with. The South is mythical to me. One day I'll get down there if the Union holds together. Well, I promise you, buddy, it ain't much to speak at, but nothing to write home about. But I guarantee you, if you go down there, you'll find it a whole lot friendlier than everybody in the North tells you it is. We saw Dwight Eisenhower do an Eisenhower do an Elton John tribute. If he comes to your town, buy tickets fast. Best Elvis and Elton John imitator ever. He claims to be doing both the king and queen of rock. Ha 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 ha. That's a good hook. He's got his little niche. His little gimmick. Diego for president. Has mine and April's votes, I bet. I bet April would vote for me. That is 2. Go, President Diego. Well, you got 2 votes already, Diego. You ain't even on the ballot. That's pretty damn good. I'm coming to your house. Well, you come on, buddy. I got a couch that lets out into a bed, and I make iced tea. And it's sweet. Automatically. You're welcome anytime. You just come right ahead on. I'll put you up, take good care of you. That's the South I grew up in. We take care of family. You heard? Can I get an amen? I hear the left always talking about how racist and white supremacy and all that nonsense that the South is. I grew up in the dirty South, as far south as you can get. I actually had an outhouse when I was growing up. We actually hunted for our food. I never saw any such bullshit. Not until I moved out of the South and into a modern city did I ever hear about racism. When I have more fuel range than a lame deer, that is, I'm coming to your house. Well, I understand that. I ride a motorcycle. That's my only mode of transportation, so I got $10 worth of gas that I can move with. If it don't get me there or to the next gas station, I ain't going that far. So I understand. Anyway, I felt it necessary to become slightly political tonight. I don't typically get involved. I mean, I'm who I am and I believe what I believe, but I don't typically tout or become a pundit of any kind. I typically leave that to the other people. But what was said in last night's press meeting with our president was terrifying, and I felt it necessary. And I'm not the only one. All of the major players are making this type of video, and all of them are calling out the nonsense and the backbiting and the rhetoric and the double speak and the speaking for 15, 20 minutes and not ever saying a word. I'm sorry, Joe. Somebody's got to say something. And if I get in trouble for that, so be it. I did what was right in my heart. I said what was true. And you can fact check me all day long. What I said was true. And I'm not sorry for it. So there you go. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Thank God I'm starting a new show Sunday. We're going out with a bang one way or another, baby. I hope that it was informative, and I hope that it was every bit as emotional and poignant and straight to the heart that I intended it to be. I intended to shake you up a little and let you see behind the curtains and let you see what's really going on in our country by our leadership. That's my intention, and I hope that it functioned as such. I hope it wasn't boring. I hope that I made it entertaining enough for you, and I hope that you got a good idea who's running the show right now. I love you all so much. I'm going to bed soon. I'm so sleepy. God bless to all. Well, I love you too, and I feel the same. I'm going to bed very soon also because I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I played hooky today to go work on somebody's wheelchair that I ended up not having to work on because he got a new chair. But I still had to go and get there and drag my tools across town to get to him. So either way, at this point, politics is rearing up as tyranny, a clear and present danger to our liberty and lives. So it's far past normal politics. I agree with you 100%. Joe Biden made a point like that similar in the show tonight, and I called him out when he said it because he's the only one talking about violence and danger. Nobody else on my side is talking about that. We're all talking about gas prices and infrastructure and the children and things like that. Nobody's talking about going to war. He is, though. Very clearly, he has made us the enemy. Anybody that voted against him. And what do you do with the enemy? You attack it. That's the American way, and you can look for it coming one way or another. The closer we get to that election, the more violent the rhetoric will become. And it will get to a point where I believe it is a 50-50 chance that we will actually break out in civil war. And I really hope that don't happen. That's why I'm talking about it now. So I really don't want that to happen. Pleasant dreams, April and Jake. Well, heck, everybody, I guess. Except for those MAGA Force people. MAGA Force! MAGA Force! You didn't know we were dangerous, but now you do, and knowing is half the battle. Amen, Jake? Yes. Night MBTV, says Kevin Cox. And it is almost 11 o'clock, so I'm going to call it a night. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I know it was a slow night, and we got bad weather in parts of the world, and I know that the subject matter was a little drab and a little, come on, man, you know, treading on my shoe with the pressure. I got it. I understand. But, you know, it had to be done. Understand that my goal is to reach out across the divide and pull people together. And together, we will make America rich again. We'll make America horny again. We will make America solvent again. We will make America able to see in the dark again. And we will make America strong again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Have a great night, and thank you for watching. I'll see you Sunday.